Hey everybody, Adam Ant here. I just wanted to give you a demonstration of the new feature in toll controllers. A little bit of background on toll controllers. These are the objects that game masters can lay down and connect them to other controllers for quest purposes, events, whatnot. And their job is to check the player's backpack to see if they have an item, usually a quest item. In our example, we'll use arrows because I've got some sitting here. But you can enter in, how many of these items are required, and if they don't have the item, you can, you've got an else branch here, so you can give them a little hint or a message. You need to go get 5 more, whatever. I'm just going to look for one arrow where item type is arrow. That's what that's actually saying. And so in the quest, if you the way I have this set up is if you move, it will check your backpack, and then it'll just issue a message down here, got the arrow, and it will consume the arrow. So let's look at the old model first before we look at the new model. So I have an arrow in my backpack. Let's make it 2 so it's a little bit interesting. Okay, so I got 2 arrows. It's going to consume 1. That's what this 1 is. We need 1 arrow to satisfy the toll controller. Okay, so if I move, my motion sensor is going to contact the trigger lock, block multiple movements. Then the toll controller will be called, and my mobile ID will have been passed down this chain, so it knows to look in my inventory and see if I have 1 arrow. Okay, so let's just do that real quick. We'll get a message down here, got the arrow, that's from the broadcaster, and watch my backpack. You'll see 1 arrow disappear here. Okay, got the arrow, and now we only have 1 arrow left. And you saw some debug messages. You can ignore those, not really interesting. So that's the old model. So let's break the link on the motion controller, because we're going to try doing things a different way here. So we're going to disconnect our motion controller from this chain. We're going to null it out here. So now the motion controller is not connected to this chain here, so I can I can move. So what we're adding is the ability to have the mobile, or more correctly, the toll controller, detect when you drop items on an NPC. So on the surface, this sounds so incredibly minor. Why would this be interesting at all? Well, I mean, as developers, we've done this 100 times. We create NPCs, and we override on drag drop, and then we look for a particular item. And if we were smart, we looked them up in some database of items. But that still requires developer work, right? You still need to create this specific mobile that looks for these specific things. And what we're trying to do is get away from that and give that ability over to game masters. So now game masters can drop down a toll controller, and in the toll controller you can either target a mobile, which is fine if you never expect that mobile to disappear, or what I like to use is a spawner, in which case any mobile on that spawner will qualify. So I can respawn Beth here. It's always going to come back as Beth because it's a template, but yeah, so there's a brand new Beth, and I've set the toll controller to point at her spawner, which means the toll controller will now detect anything dropped on Beth and then run it through the normal toll controller mechanisms. It's going to look for 1 arrow being dropped, not in my backpack, being dropped, and then it will consume it. Okay, so let's try that. We'll try the same test, except now it has nothing to do with movement, and instead is a drag drop operation, which I feel is a little more intuitive for players, and a little more immersive, perhaps. I mean, if an NPC tells you to bring back an arrow, some might find it a little odd that they magically knew that you had an arrow when you walked in, back into the healer, or the event headquarters, wherever. They just automatically say, okay, you've got the item. So now we can actually just intercept the drag drop via the toll controller and make it a more intuitive, immersive type interaction. Okay, so now I walk up, it's not connected up to the motion controller. I come up to Beth, I grab my arrows. So what you're going to see is we're going to have one arrow left here, and we're going to get the message, got the arrow. Okay, got the arrow. We got one left. So the toll controller did its job, and it did it in such a way that now when we construct quests, we can say, bring the fisher, 4 brown trout, and you can just naturally hand them to him instead of him magically knowing that you have, 4 brown trout in your backpack. Okay, so that's really it. Sort of a minor update, but it's kind of cool when you think of the work it saves development, when game masters can just plop these things down and have control over drag and drop over some arbitrary mobile, right? All right, that's it. Thanks. Bye.